Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Matt.
I'm Daniel. I'm Joel.
I'm Lauren. I'm Mimi.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. We just finished setting up the farm market. Dad just got back from the wholesaler. He was picking up some stuff this morning. The milkman just got here with a full load of stuff. Don't tell me you were already out in the field this morning.
Picking rhubarb.
Daniel and Joel are already out working in the fields, and now it's time to head down and feed the animals. We've recently moved a few calves out into the pastured area, and they seem to be doing really well. We do have to keep an eye on them, which is understandable. They're calves. But it's nice when they get out there and they can go enjoy the pastured ground. Since we are done with the animals, we are now moving up to the greenhouse. We've got a very important job to work on.
We can put it back in place.
Now, when it comes to our next job, we are going to be using the pot filling machine, except we're not going to be filling pots. We're actually filling up 98 trays. Now, 98 trays stand for 98 cells. So there's 98 different plants that will grow in one of these trays. And as you guys remember, those are the trays we use when we plant out in the field. So yes, today is a very exciting day because we are going to seed our last planting of cole crops. I can't believe we're already doing that this year. But then again, we already have mums planted. The year is just flying by. If you forgot what our 98 cell trays look like, here you go. There are 98 holes in these trays, and we do our best to put a seed in each one using our tray seeder up in the germination greenhouse. We just got finished filling all of the trays that we will be seeding our cole crops into. Now we're going to start wheeling them up to the germination greenhouse, and you can see on this cart there is over 50 trays. So we're going to be planting a lot of cole crops. Now right here we have our box of cole crop seed. There's anything from cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, everything is in this box that we will need. So we have a big job at keeping everything organized. And that may sound silly when it comes to plants, but it's kind of difficult to tell the difference between cole crops when they are just coming out of the soil, when those seedlings are just getting ready to sprout. So Dad is going to be running the seeder, I'm going to be covering up trays, and Matthew's going to be tagging. You'll see a little bit more of that later on. And this is one of the biggest reasons why we need to keep everything in order. We need to keep varieties with varieties, because especially with cabbage, if we get everything all mixed up, it becomes a big headache later on. We are getting started with red cabbage, Savoy cabbage, and Chinese cabbage, and then we're going to be moving on to kohlrabi. We've got a lot of stuff to seed today. I mean, it makes sense. The name is Twister. So I originally thought we were going to move on to regular cabbage, but Dad grabbed some other varieties. So first off, we did kohlrabi, and now we're going to be moving on to cauliflower. Little white hat. Ow! We're now moving on to our cauliflower varieties. We're starting off with Apex and then moving to Twister. And Callie is here. She is picking out stuff in the book. We are now completely finished with our cole crops up to cabbage. So now we're gonna be planting all of our cabbage varieties. And we are starting off with a variety called Blue Vantage. Blue Vantage doesn't get an extremely large head, which makes it really easy for packaging. And we sell a lot of cabbage to a local supermarket. So when we sell the cabbage to the supermarket, they want smaller heads. And Blue Vantage works for that. Okay everyone, we are stopping for the morning because it is lunchtime, but I just want to give you a quick look at everything that we got seeded. We got all of our cole crops finished up to our regular cabbage. So after lunch, we're going to be working on the regular cabbage. Now we stopped because it was almost time for lunch, but the biggest reason why we had to stop is because Joel and Daniel aren't coming home. They're gonna stay out in the fields. We're actually bringing lunch to them. So that's why we are stopping a little bit early for lunch. That way we can get them their lunch, they can get back to working, and then we can get back to working. Just so everybody knows, Joel got lunch today. We brought it out to him.
I almost lost my pizza. Waving.
Joel is gonna get back to mowing, and then once we get Daniel his lunch, he's gonna get back to plowing.
A little bit. I gave a little bit to Joel. 5 pieces enough for you?
Let me just tell you, Daniel is in his glory in that machine. He is enjoying every second of it. We got the boys their lunch, so now we're gonna head home and get ours. Alrighty, let's see what we're having for lunch today. Ooh, it looks like we're having sandwiches. Looks good to me. We just got done with lunch. My dad is running to pick up some concentrate for my uncle. As you saw, Joel and Daniel are still out working in the fields. However, Matthew and I were gonna get back to filling up trays for seeding cabbage. The first time we had filled up, we used about 50 trays. We're gonna use about 50 more. Originally, we had planned for about 100 different trays of cole crops, which is still what we're hoping for. Might have a few extra, we're not sure yet, but we're gonna get back to filling. Just finished filling up our trays. Matthew has already taken them up, so it's time to head up and start seeding again. Now, since cabbage is the last thing that we need to plant, and this is our final planting of cabbage, what we're gonna be doing is going from earliest variety to latest variety. So we got started with our Blue Vantage, and we're gonna be moving through all of these different varieties, making sure we at least plant a few of each. Now we're gonna sell all of this cabbage, but there is a difference between some of these varieties. And no, I'm not just talking about the days until maturity. Some of this cabbage that we're going to be planting, it's really good for boxing. The heads are a little smaller, similar to the Blue Vantage, the first thing that we seeded. Now some of this cabbage gets a little larger and is better for making sauerkraut and other dishes. And then some of the cabbage that we're raising is better at holding, so you'll be able to store it for much longer. Those are things you have to look at when you're planting your late season cabbage. And we're hoping that everything will come up just nice and we'll have a nice fall late cabbage harvest. I thought this sped up clip was so cool, and it gives you an understanding of how important this machine is to us. In this short amount of time, Dad seeded nearly 1,000 plants. It's unbelievable. Did you plant this one? Yep. Yeah. Okay. How many days that came in that 95?
94.
We just finished off a variety called Megaton. Now we're moving on to a cabbage called Nixon. Now while Dad is seeding the trays and I am covering them up, Matthew is working on tagging them. Matthew has a very important job because we can't get all of these varieties mixed up. So Matthew is being very careful as he tags.
I think my handwriting gets better when the camera's on me, Andrew.
We just finished seeding all of our cole crops for our late planting. This is a pretty big deal for us. There is a lot of seeds that have been transplanted here, and there's gonna be a lot of plants that will need to be put out into the fields. We aren't done. We have one more thing we are doing before we finish up with seeding. Not only did we need to seed some trays for us, but we also need some for sales, because there's a lot of people in our area that like to plant late cole crops as well. So we need cole crops and our customers need cole crops. Unlike us, where we would do the 98 cell trays, we are doing 512s, and then later on we'll plant them into 806 packs. After we got finished working up in the greenhouse, we've kind of just been hanging around here. The farm market's been very busy. I went and mowed the grass and mowed around the pasture, and now we're just getting ready to close up in the farm market because it is closing time. Some of you may wonder if it gets annoying putting this stuff away every single night. It is a little annoying, but we also understand the importance of it. We got to keep things fresh. We are all done with work for the day. Look at these Asian lilies. Look at how nice they look.
I see that. I wanted to.
Anyway, we are done with work for the day. So we're heading up to the house. Just swinging out here?
I think, yep, just a swing in.
Alrighty, everyone. We are up in the house, and as you can see, there is no dinner on the table. That's because it's date night. And since it's date night, that means this is where we're going to end the video. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!